lost sight of is that those institutions they were fighting to preserve didn't work for people like us. We cannot be afraid to take on whatever billionaire, whatever banker, whatever bootlicking bastard we have to make sure the little guy gets his seat at the table. That is who we are as a party. It's that simple. I'll wrap up by telling you, don't you let any idiot in a red hat tell you you should be ashamed of who you are as a Democrat. Texas Democrats are pretty badass. And when I think back on the greatest things that happened in this country in the last 100 years, I think of things that were brought to you by Democrats. I think of things like that New Deal we talked about earlier, that brought clean water and electricity to communities that didn't have it. Democrats knew that if you invested in rural communities, they would start buying light bulbs and dishwashers. It would rebound the economy from the Great Depression. Save the world during World War II, brought to you by Democrats.
And who, when you hear from her, when you watch her do her work, she is so badass. Melanie, and you all have heard this old saying many times, in Congress, and frankly this is true in every elected office, there are workhorses and there are show horses. And I've said Melanie is that unicorn who is not just a workhorse, but she gets some really great viral moments that fire up the base, inspire all of us. But let me tell you, she is a dogged, determined legislator. In her role on the Oversight Committee, she has fought some really tough battles. And even before she was in Congress, as a teacher, she started out as a teacher.
Speaker and as a fellow Congresswoman, with my dear sister in the fight, your Congresswoman, Veronica Escobar. And I have to say, there have already been so many incredible speeches. Thank you to our state chair. I think we can all go home. I think that pretty much covered it all. To your Congresswoman. But I didn't realize you guys were going to play that video tonight. And so, you know, it was funny, actually, I was doing an interview with an international reporter. And at the end of the interview, he turned to me and he said, I think our final question is, how is it that you can destroy both the President of the United States and a chairwoman of a committee with an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper? That is your superpower. So as a former middle school educator, I fully embrace that. This is kind of tall for me.
So, good evening, everyone. Friends, thank you. This is truly an honor. I chose Dora Oaxaca to introduce me, not because she worked for me when I was a city representative, but because she literally saved my life last year in January. I got so sick, and she called me that afternoon. She says, "What's wrong with you?" I said, I'm sick. I don't know what's wrong." She immediately came over, and I guess I looked bad. Because she says, you have a choice. I take you to the emergency or I call 911. And I said, call 911, I can't walk. And so she took me to the hospital. She notified our good friend, Robin Vaught, who's over here somewhere. And I got admitted to the hospital. I had sepsis. And so later on I asked her, I said, did you ask the doctor what would have happened if I hadn't gone? She said, yes. And he told me, if I hadn't taken you to the doctor, you would have passed out and died overnight because you had sepsis. So that's why I wanted her here today, because she literally saved my life, and that's why I'm here today. So thank you, Dora. You know, I want to thank all my friends and my former colleagues who are here today. Steve Ortega is sitting right here in front, and Eddie Olin, who is somewhere over there, who served with me on City Council. Thank you for always supporting the initiatives that I introduced. You know, thank you all for being here. Yesterday, when we were putting together the silent auction, with Michael, Michael and I were laughing that this feels like the Grammys or the Oscars of El Paso. Except we don't have the red carpet or the music, it's time for you to go. But we have a lot of heart that comes here. And so if you didn't see the Grammys, which I watched it, I'm gonna borrow a phrase from Bad Bunny when he accepted his Grammy. And before I say thank you, I wanna say one thing. ICE out of our communities.
Introducing my mom for induction into this year's Hall of Fame. So, a little bit about my mom. She has been a long-time union member, and in fact, some of my earliest memories are her taking me out on the road to organize in lieu of summer vacation. Yeah. She has been a long-time union activist, was on the board of the Texas State Employees Union since 1990, served over 20 years as our president, which she tried to step down several times and they kept pulling her back until finally she said, no more. She has served with the CWA and with the AFL-CIO, was the first female president of the local Central Labor Union, and has been a very, very active, very deep-felt Democrat who has never failed to show up when asked. So it is my privilege and my pleasure to introduce my mom, Judy Lugo.
Judy.
Yeah, she's right. I had her on the road with me doing organizing when we were taking our vacation. But that's the life of a union person. First of all, I am a little uncomfortable because I'm not used to speaking all the time. I'd rather be in sweats and a t-shirt and out there. But I want to thank everybody that gave me support. I want to thank Lee Verrett for nominating me for this position. I want to thank the El Paso Democratic Party for allowing me to do what I do, and my daughter for allowing me to do what I do and giving me the support that I need to do what I do, because I still go out on the road. I also want to thank all the Democratic clubs that I belong to for giving me the support that you give me, and especially want to thank my union brothers and sisters.
Yeah!
Without them, I can't do half the things that I wanted to do. So I just want to say one other thing, is that yes, we have a lot of work to do, and yes, I've been doing it for many, many years, and a quick shout out to Norma Chavez, because Norma's the one that got me to be precinct chair and get started in this, even though I was in the union. But I just want to remind everybody that March 28th is our No Kings protest, and we expect to see everybody there. Thank you.
People have been tired of what's been going on. Our seniors are afraid. Every day I get calls. ¿Y ahora qué? ¿Y ahora qué? So they get tired of it. We're all tired of this. So we need to get out there and work. The next person that I did the honoring here of honoring is George Cordova. And it is a privilege for me to introduce our next candidate of George Cordova, our very own Tejano member, precinct chair, but most important, a very good friend. Many times we get together for breakfast. He says he'll call me or I'll call him. Let's go have breakfast because we need to talk politics. Or we have dinner and that's all we do is talk politics. What are we going to do? So he's got this energy and he helps everybody. We go to the office and he never denies us anything that we want. He helps us, or he'll find a solution that we need to get our Democrats out.